Well, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year's. It should be New Year's Day today, I believe. So I hope you guys all had a safe and happy New Year's Eve. Also, a Merry Christmas. I am back in Texas now and very happy to be here. We spent about 2.5 weeks in Ohio where it rained and was cold pretty much every day. This morning, we're going to take the truck back over to Truck Techz to have them take a look at the upper control arms, or the rubbing that I'm having on the truck. I had mentioned before that I noticed that there was a rubbing when I turned the wheel pretty much as far as it would go, left or right, and also when I would exit a parking lot and take a kind of a dip, you know, as you do in a lot of parking lots when you leave or go in, with the wheel turned, and I would also get kind of a rubbing or even a thumping there. So there is definitely an issue, something that I'm going to take care of. And my two thoughts, or two solutions, I guess, are one, to add spacers to the wheels to kind of bring them out a little bit, and that would move them away from the upper control arms, of course. But I'm kind of veering away from that right now. There's a lot of bad pub out there on wheel spacers, so not really digging that. Probably not going to go that way. And the other is to replace the upper control arms. Something with something a little less bulky as compared to what the OEM control arms or upper control arms are. I think that's probably ultimately the solution to the problem. We'll see. But I want to get their input, of course. They know a lot more about this kind of stuff than I do, and see what they would suggest to solve the problem. I may take the camera in with me when I talk to them. We'll see. Depends on how busy they are and what's going on and my frame of mind when I pull up. But if not, as soon as we leave the shop there, I'll get on and let you guys know what the resolution is going to be. So stay tuned, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we are done at the shop. Went in and talked to Raul a little bit, and he came out, looked at the truck, and could see where it was rubbing on the control arm a little bit. And again, just to reiterate, this is an extreme articulation situation, you know, where you're turning the wheel all the way to the left or right, and then if you, go over a bump or whatever, the truck is going to articulate, and the tire does indeed rub, the upper control arm. So, what's the resolution? Well, there are actually 3 options for me. One I didn't really expect. The first, he suggested we could put on bump stops. You know, I'm really not into that, because that's not really a permanent fix. For me, that's more of a Band-Aid. It would solve the problem, but it would limit the mobility of the truck. And if you don't know, bump stops are stops that you put on to limit how far the wheel turns left or right. Of course, if the wheel can't turn as far left or right as it is right now, you wouldn't be hitting the upper control arms. But again, that to me is really not a permanent fix. That's more of a Band-Aid. So I'm not really into that. We're going to rule that out. We talked a little bit about the offset on the wheel. The reason that we can't change that, you know, adding spacers or any of that kind of stuff. And keep in mind, these are the wheels that I wanted. These aren't the wheels that he suggested. These are the wheels that I said I wanted on the truck. So that's on me, I guess. But if we were to try to add spacers, you know, move that wheel further out, then we'd have another problem. The tire, when you turn, would hit the fender well, or the edge of the fender at the back, let's say, or right beside the driver or passenger door. and possibly even at the front, because that would then move the tire out a little bit and change how it sits, especially if you were turning and going over a bump or something and the truck articulated and kind of moves that tire in and out a little bit, and we would run the risk of then rubbing the fender itself. And that's not a good option for me. In the area I'm at right now, it seems there are lots of bumps and stuff around here, and going in and out of parking lots and restaurants and whatever. There are lots of dips and things in the road, so that's not really an option for me either. So no spacers, no changing the offset on the wheel. The third, which is the option I may go with, and we'll tell you why it's a may go with here in a minute, is to change the upper control arms. There are different brands, there are lots of different brands that you can go to that are a little smaller, if you will, or a little more out of the way than the stock control arms. We could go with, and again, there's a million different ones, Chaos, Pro Comp, several other ones that we can go with. And that may be the way that I go, because that would be a permanent fix and wouldn't have to worry then about, the tire rubbing up against it. We talked about something else. I had just kind of an off-the-wall question when I was there, and I asked him, I said, well, if I had gone with 285 tires, first, would they fit on the wheel? And they will. And secondly, would that have eliminated the problem? In other words, if I had a little bit thinner of a tire, would I not have the issue? And he said, well, yeah, if the tire was thinner, that would solve your problem altogether. Of course, then I have the issue of the tires that I currently own. I'm not looking to scrap the tires I own, but as many of you may be aware, if you watch the channel, my wife has the new Jeep JL, and she wants to lift that Jeep, and she also wants to put on the same tires that I have on the truck. Different wheels, still 20-inch, but the same tires. So he said, well, why don't you save yourself a little bit of money? The UCA cost, by the way, would be about $700 ballpark to change both the UCAs, total cost. So he said, well, why don't you save yourself $700, or at least put that money somewhere else? You could do the lift on the Jeep, which of course we're going to do anyway, and Krista could then go with the tires that I have on the truck currently, along with the different wheels that she wants. Now, I asked him, well, will there be any problem in the Jeep if we do that? I mean, I don't want to run into the same issue that we have in the truck with the Jeep by putting different tires or the same tires on the Jeep. And he says no. He says as long as we do a lift, it should be okay. And the lift he suggested, which I believe is what she wants, is about a 2.5-inch lift. It would probably be the Pro Comp lift, I think it was. And that would then allow her to have the same size tires and wheels that I have on the Tacoma, and we would eliminate me needing to change anything else on the Tacoma as far as the UCAs go. So I'm not sure which way we're going to go. We're going to go one way or the other. Either I'm going to change the UCAs, and he's going to work me up a firm price on that, or we're going to do the lift on Krista's Jeep, use these tires on her Jeep with the wheels that she wants, and call it a day. So I need to run that by Krista. Last we talked, she did want the same tires that I have on the truck on the Jeep, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. We'll be able to kill two birds with one stone and direct that money that I would have to spend anyway, if I went with either the upper control arms or, God forbid, new tires. There's no way I would go out and buy new tires and scrap the ones that I have. That's just crazy. So that's where we're at right now. I'm pretty happy with the options that I have. Again, I'm not blaming the shop for it. They put them on, and looking at everything, I mean, unless they were to take the truck out, run it through parking lots, drive it like I drive it, they probably really wouldn't have ever known. And looking at it, it looks fine. I mean, there is a gap between the UCAs and the tires, but it's only when the truck articulates or you crank that wheel all the way to the left or right. And when I say all the way, I mean so far that, you know, you can hear the steering pump doing its thing. You know, if any of you guys have ever cranked your wheel all the way to the left or right, you know that feeling. Well, that's what I'm talking about. The only other time is, like I had mentioned, when you go out of a parking lot, if you're cranked, again, pretty far all the way to the left or right. Doesn't necessarily have to be all the way, but pretty far, and then take that bump while you're turning, it will hit at that point as well. So, that's what I'm gonna do. Like I said, we'll get home, we'll talk to her, we'll see what she wants to do, and then we'll go from there. As usual, I do appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think of my solution. Am I nuts? Is there something I'm missing? There's something else that I should be doing. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Appreciate you guys watching. Please click that subscribe button if you haven't before. Give this video a big thumbs up. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time on the web. Have a good day. Bye.